guys, I cannot wait to show you this super simple breakfast recipe that actually tastes like you're a gourmet. This is so simple. I've got our pan. This is a small pan, by the way, a 7-inch pan. So you want to use something small, and this will make one serving. You could probably easily make 2. We'll talk about that. I'm using a 1/4 cup of cream. Honestly, 3 to 4 tablespoons is enough, but you want to just get a nice coating on that 7-inch skillet, which is why you don't want to use anything larger. So you just want to kind of wish it around a little bit and let it simmer. So when your cream starts to simmer, it's going to thicken and it's going to make this amazing sauce. And so what I love is you probably have these ingredients in your refrigerator already. We're using cream, some eggs, some cheese, and I'm using some pre-cooked bacon, which is totally optional. In fact, you could use any kind of meat. You could use ham, you could use leftover turkey, you could use any number of things. I've used some sausage before, crumbled leftover breakfast sausage. But you let it simmer on fairly low heat, and you can't rush this, okay? So that's the thing. It's really yummy, but you're gonna wanna take your time making it. So once this begins to simmer, I have some bacon, and we have baked ours in the oven already. This is 2 pieces. You can use like the Sam's pre-cooked bacon, but just take the bacon and put it in the bottom of the pan along with the cream. Now it's already cooked. You're not gonna put raw bacon in here, but you can see where you could use ham or any other meat, right? So just crumble it in there. And these are about bite-sized pieces for me. That would have been 1 slice because I used half. Let's put the rest of this, so this will be a slice and a half. Use your judgment as to what's best. And it won't take long before it starts to kind of simmer on the edges, especially you'll see it. And once it simmers, we're just going to take our eggs. Now this is for if you like eggs that are sunny side up, and you can make this in the oven too. And that's how I made it the first time, was the oven. And then I decided to be a bit lazy and make it on the skillet, and I think I love it more. But this was something that I developed for growing up keto, the baked version, and then the skillet version just kind of happened, and I got super excited about that. And I wanted to share it. You can see little bubbles that are coming up already. And this is so good. You want to give it a chance to thicken. You can throw your eggs in right away, but I don't think you really want to do that. You want to give the cream a chance to thicken. You don't want it too high because it will burn, but let it start to bubble up and thicken. Got your meat in there, so the bacon's getting all warm. And if you want, you could put a little cheese in now, but I like to put my eggs in first. And these are just plain eggs. And because I like sunny side up, I'm gonna crack them here. And what you're doing essentially is poaching the egg in the heavy cream. So I tend to put it in where the skillet's hottest. So let me put it there. And if you can kind of drag the egg white around, it'll cook better. That's the one thing, is it seems to take the egg white a bit longer to cook. And I don't mind the runny yolk, but I like the egg white cooked pretty well. So I've got that in there, and you're lowering the temperature. Every time you add something new to the dish, it takes a while to warm back up. But the egg is cooking. Let me put the other egg in. Now, when I talked about serving size, I usually do it as 2 eggs, and so it's a single serving. Quite honestly, if I had a bit of a larger skillet, I could put a little more cream. Again, you just want to cover the bottom of the skillet, and I could easily put a 3rd or 4th egg in here and share it with David, or use a bit larger skillet and put more eggs. But the cream is a 1/4 cup of heavy cream, and so when you start, if you're having to be careful about dairy or not do a ton of dairy, then that's something you want to be mindful of, is the amount of cream. And again, while I'm using such a small skillet. Okay, so that's going to cook. While it's cooking, I'm going to grate a little cheese over this. Now, with the cheese, I have been using, you can see where I've been using this cheese. It's a smoked cheddar. So this is actually double smoked cheddar. I think I found it at Aldi's. I also have, this is really nice, a cheddar Parmesan. It reminds me a little bit of the cheese, the unexpected cheddar that's at Trader Joe's that David loves so much, but it's a cheddar Parmesan. And then this is even a cheddar and Gruyere. So whatever you love. And I love this gadget. I'll link to this. I have used this so much for just a little bit of cheese. If I'm shredding massive amounts of cheese, then I'll use my little handy KitchenAid. I'll put it on my on the stand, or I'll have David do it for me. He's grinning because he knows he does that more than I do. You know, it's a gadget, it's a tool, so that's something that he should be doing, not me. I don't, you know, we girls, I'm laughing, don't know how to use things like that. And I'm just getting this smoked cheddar, and the smoked cheddar is super nice with the bacon, and that's probably going to be enough, and probably about all I can do without getting pieces of finger in there. So I'll just throw these larger pieces of cheese in there, but I just grate it over top. And if you did want to use a little more cheese, that's probably enough, but I'll show you with this. This is a bit more crumbly, but we do love this cheese. Okay. And between the dairy and or the dairy from the cream and this cheese, that's probably enough. And I just want to get it on the edges. I'm going to put it all over. So while we've been talking, that's still, the egg is cooking. It's all getting wonderful. What you can do if you want to make sure the egg gets done is you can cover the pan. I usually set a timer. Once I get the cheese in there, it's all bubbly. I'll set a timer for about 3 minutes, and it's done perfectly for my taste at 3 minutes. One of the things that helps me pass the time, and this has been such a big thing, herbs. I've been growing thyme, and my thyme, this is so good. If you add a little bit of thyme, I've used cilantro. I've used some basil, which is delicious, but with the smoky cheese and the meat, this fresh thyme is just fantastic. So I'm gonna put the herbs in there, and the thyme especially will simmer with the cream, and it's just surprising how great the flavor is. You can use dried thyme. It's perfectly fine to use dried, but the fresh thyme is really subtle, and it's so nice. You know, sometimes with the dried herbs, you kind of crunch into them, and it's not so lovely, especially if it's something that you don't cook for very long. Okay, I'm gonna just sprinkle these around a little bit more. Ooh, we don't want the stalk in there. We just want the leaves. And once I get this in, I'm gonna check it. You can take the spatula and kind of run around to see how it's doing. And my time is just about gone for this season. Never enough time. Anyway, so I'm trying to squeeze out the best of it. David laughed. That's like an advantage of having a live studio audience. You didn't know you were my live studio audience, did you?
I did not.
No? Okay, and then just a little bit more. There's Banjo. Banjo is growling. I don't know if you heard him. He's also part of the live studio audience. Hopefully you won't hear too much from him. Okay, so that's simmering a bit. I don't think we've had enough time for it to simmer. I'll put a little more in there. But what you can do is take your spatula and just kind of run around the edges, and you can see if it's starting to set up, because between the cheese and the cream thickening, it will start to set up. Those are the whites. I don't want to break the yellow, but you can see how that white's not quite done to my taste. It's a little runny. If you like it that way, then you could certainly plate it up. But I'm checking the whites, and the whites are just getting done. So let me give it just a few more minutes, and then I think it'll be about perfect. And so yeah, it's been about 2.5 minutes since I've had it simmering. So let it simmer. And here's another thing, when you plate it, it won't be as pretty. And so something I've been doing, I'm just gonna confess, is getting my spoon and just eating out of the skillet. And I use a spoon so I don't scratch it up, but it is, I can't tell you guys, this is so simple, and it is so yummy. Yeah, it's starting to set up. So, okay, I'm going to, in the interest of being more couth, I'm actually going to put this on a plate. So let's turn it off and let it cool. And what I have on the plate, I do have some 90-second toast, and this is the toast that I make that's really truly low carb, and you can serve it on the toast because it makes that little bit of gravy, or just serve the toast on side, or just enjoy it without. Honestly, I usually enjoy this without. Oh, another thing I like to do is if I have a few little chopped tomatoes, I'll add some tomatoes, and this is like literally, I think 3 tiny grape tomatoes, and it makes it gorgeous and also makes it yummy. So let me move this toast a bit out of the way, and it's cooled a bit, so it'll be easier to transfer to the pan. Ooh. There we go. Let's get all the bacon out of there and all the yummy sauce. And so there you go. That is, we're gonna call this, I think, creamy skillet eggs. Creamy skillet eggs with bacon, maybe. It's hot, and I don't have a fork or spoon to try it, but I can tell you it is delicious. Yeah, the creamy sauce with the sunny side up eggs and the bacon and the thyme, and maybe a little sprinkle of salt, and good morning. If you make this for your family, I hope that they enjoy it too.